All right. Welcome to Ask Adi Live. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what God did for me or how my marriage went from just surviving to heaven on earth. Yes, once upon a time, our marriage was just okay. We're doing just all right, but things were not the way they are right now, and not the way we wanted them to be. But there are some things that God helped me to change. And when those things were changed in our marriage, in my life, and in hers as well, things took a different turn. And today we are so happy. My marriage is like heaven on earth. That's what I would say. Of course, it's not perfect. We still have room to grow, a lot of room to grow. But we are so grateful that every year it gets better and better. And in August, it's going to be 21 years. And of course, every time we celebrate another anniversary, we go away to reimagine and to thank God for the marriage that we have. I look forward to that in August. And today, I just want to take the time to share with you. If you're out there and you see that your marriage is not the way you want it to be, or you're drifting apart as friends, you're arguing every now and then, things are not just well. Something has happened and seems to have broken your marriage, and you don't know how to get it back. Today, what I'm gonna share with you, I believe will help you if you are able to make those changes the same way that God helped me to discover these things, and now I'm able to share them with you. I believe that you are going to have the same result. Your marriage will get better. It will change direction. And once the direction of your marriage has changed from going downhill to going to a better, more joyful, more thriving direction, all you have to do is just keep working, keep feeding that progress, feeding that momentum, and you will get to the goal that you want with time. Now, I must tell you the truth, it has taken some time to get to where we are now, where my wife and I, we delight in seeing each other. We look forward to times alone together. We are always planning things to do with one another. And when she's with me, I don't get bored. When I'm with her, she doesn't get bored. She's involved in everything I do. Even this work, this ministry, this program that I do, she's aware of it. She's involved in it, even though you don't see her. And in the things that she does, I'm involved in it. We pastor together, we lead together, we stand together. It is something that God has helped us to build over years. But you cannot build anything if you're not going in the right direction in the first place. So these things I'm going to share, these 3 shifts that God helped me with, they're going to help you realign your marriage to be in the right direction, so that when you just keep feeding it, it will just get better. It's like a bicycle. Riding a bike, once you get the flow of it, all you have to do is just keep pedaling and you keep going. And so this is what I want to share with you today. So get ready for that. Let me see who is online with me. If you're online, please say hi. Let me know that you're there, because I cannot see you. I'm going to type hi in the chat just to make sure that, yes. So if I can see that you're there, so say hi. Let me know that you're there. And if what I'm sharing blesses you, and if this topic is something that you know somebody else would need, do not hesitate to share it with them. And let's also discuss. If there's anything that I say that triggers a question in you, feel free to ask. That's why I do this live. I like to engage with my people. All those who are subscribed to this channel, I thank God for you, and I want to keep serving you the best way that I can. All right, so let's get into the discussion. Father, I pray for your help tonight as we discuss. Visit us with your word and help each one of us to leave here encouraged and transformed. All right, so let's discuss this. the earlier in our marriage, I discovered that we we were just coasting along. I was trying my best to get my wife to do certain things because I thought that that's how to do life. You know, you need to do this way because I was in Canada a few years before her, so I wanted to show her how to live here in Canada. What I didn't realize is that not everybody would do things the way I do them. And now I'm wiser. Now it looks so foolish when I think about those days. But that was me. I felt that, you know what, I'm going to protect her from all the pain that I've gone through. I'm going to just tell her everything that she needs to do. But that was choking, and it sent the wrong signal. And so we began to struggle. Of course, she had her own issues too, things that she wanted, expectations that she had. And so we were just going along. We were pastors. I was a pastor before I got married. So she joined me and we were leading. I was a youth pastor. And so we knew that we loved God. We knew that we loved one another. We also know and still knew then that this is something we're going to do for the rest of our lives. But it wasn't as fun as we thought it was going to be. And we just kept on trying. Both of us were trying until one day I decided, you know what, I'm going to call one of the people who were leaders in my life, pastors in our church, and we're going to ask them to speak to us so I can hear what she's saying. And when I did that, God had mercy on me. I guess that display of humility, wanting to know what to do, because she was the one complaining about certain things, but I didn't understand them. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what the problem was now. I don't. I try to remember what the real issue was, but I don't, because even then I didn't understand it. And when that pastor was speaking to us, God opened my eyes to see something, that if you will show up in your marriage in a new way, your wife will have to respond to that new way, and your marriage is going to be way better than what you're experiencing now. Instead of trying to get her to behave in certain way or be certain way or appreciate certain things, you just choose to work on yourself, and it made a big difference. Now, everything didn't change suddenly, but my heart changed. And the first thing I want to say to you that happened to me was that I took responsibility for the atmosphere in my home. And the question that helped me to get that was, if your wife was married to Jesus, would she be complaining? That was the question that got me. For some reason, while she was speaking, she wasn't saying that. That's not what she was saying. She was just trying to explain what she was doing. She, like in counseling, you speak for one side and the other side, you try to get both sides to understand what each one is saying. She was saying all of that, but somehow I stopped hearing her, and this question became very strong in my heart. And that was, if you were to live like Jesus, if she was married to Jesus, would she be complaining? And at that time, honestly, my answer was no. I knew I was doing my best, but somehow I also knew deep down in my heart that if she was married to Jesus, she would not be complaining, which means there was room for me to improve, and there was a way that I could show up. And I think why I knew the answer was no, she won't be complaining, was because we had a great time before, while she was still in Nigeria, and we met each other. We were in school together. We loved each other. There was joy. There was peace. So I knew that thing is possible. So because I knew that it was possible, and I knew that Jesus can do all things, so I knew he could be that same person again to her and understand all the pain or whatever she was going through, and so the marriage could be better. So my answer to the question, if she was married to Jesus, would she be complaining, was no, she won't be complaining. She will be happy. And that changed my whole view. That was the first thing that God did for me, that changed my life, changed my marriage. Yes, because from that point, I took responsibility. So whenever things were not going well, I knew that I was going to do my best. I can change her, but I can change the way I deal with her. I can change the way I responded when she did wrong, in my own view. And I could change the way I showed up every day. And when I forgot to do something, or I neglected to do something, or I reacted based on my assumptions rather than the truth or facts, I could own up to them. All right. So I knew that, and that really made a difference for me. And so for you, wherever you are, you may be married to someone that has really messed up in one way or the other. They have their issues. And the question you want to ask is, am I showing up the best that I can? Now, I'm not saying that showing up the best that you can will automatically fix your marriage, but I tell you, it will change the direction of your marriage. It will change the direction of your heart also. So because the first thing that began to happen to me when I made up my mind that, you know what, I'm going to change the way I showed up in this marriage. I'm going to try to be Jesus in this marriage. And I'm going to take responsibility for the marriage if it's not doing well. I'm going to learn. I'm going to ask God to help us do better, regardless of how she showed up. And what that did to me was it gave me peace, gave me hope, right? Because I'm no longer helpless. I didn't feel helpless anymore. Because when you're doing what you think is the best and you're not getting the result that you want, you're going to feel hopeless and helpless. And so that disappeared from my marriage. And do you know what? I've been doing this because I'm a pastor, and I was a pastor before I got married. So right as I was practicing this in my marriage, I had the opportunity to practice it with people over the years, over 21 years now, practicing this same thing. I've seen it work over and over again all the time. Whenever a person makes up their mind that, you know what, I'm not going to let my marriage just go down, and I'm not going to wait until my wife or my husband changes before I begin to make changes in my marriage, the same thing happens. Number one, you suddenly don't feel hopeless anymore. Number two, you have things to work on because you know what to do to become more like Jesus. And number three, your changes begin to affect the changes, inspire changes in your spouse. Because you're not only depending on your changes, you're also depending on the impact your changes are making on your spouse. So it's beautiful. I want to encourage you to try that. Yes, make up your mind that, you know what, I'm not going to just say, oh, it's the culture. You know, I've seen different reasons that people give for their marriage. Oh, this culture is a bad culture. People are very rude in this culture. And so that's why my marriage is struggling. Yes, it may have an impact, but it's not the only reason. You can change the part that you can change. And some people will say, you know what, my spouse is just messed up. They are addicted to this, addicted to that. They're not godly. They're not praying. They're not trying to do the best. They've given up on the marriage, and so I'm going to just end it. But deep down within them, they know that there's something that can happen, because they won't be talking to me if they didn't know that there was hope somehow. And so I always like to encourage you, if you are watching this video, that means there's hope. There's hope. Yes, I have that confidence, because if you are the one in the marriage, you're the one struggling, you're the one taking the punches, so you know that there's something there that tells you there's hope. That's why you're reaching out. If you knew there was no hope, you were sure that there was no hope, and there's absolutely nothing anybody can do, you'll be divorced already. All right. So that hope, don't give up on it. Let's get you some help. You know, this is why I became a coach in this area, because I know, and I've seen so many marriages change just by working with one person. Yes, it's beautiful, because if you can make up your mind to change the way you show up in your marriage, change and take responsibility, say, you know what, this marriage, I'm going to give it the best that I can give. Not only that, I'm going to make sure that everything that I learn in my own life, I'm going to pour it back into the marriage, and I'm going to learn as much as I can to become better at handling people. I want to even be as great as Jesus is in my marriage. That will change your story very quickly, right? So that's the first point, first step. And as I began to do that, I just noticed that I was more relaxed, and my wife became more relaxed too. And she also told me the areas that she was not doing well in, and it made a big difference. The second thing that I would like to say to you that I also did was I accepted that she was a gift from God to me, right? I chose to make up my mind that there's no exit strategy for this marriage. This marriage is not going to end in divorce, no matter what. Yes, I knew that. Made up my mind right from before we got married. That was already there. So when the struggles were going on, I already made up my mind that look, I'm going to be in this for the rest of my life, the rest of my life. And at that time, we were just in our early 30s, and so I was in my early 30s. She was in the 20s. And I was looking at it like, no. I'm not going to, I planned by the grace of God to live till I was 80 or, no, sorry, not 80, 100. So I was looking at another 70, 60, 70 years of marriage. And now I'm here for the long haul. I'm going to be here for so many more decades. So I better put some things down now that I want to reap in the future. This I'm telling you exactly how these things work in my heart, and I hope that you will take this with you. I made up my mind. I'm not going to stay 60 years struggling like this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to work really hard to put some things down in this marriage right now that I'm going to reap in the future. And so forgiveness became water to me, drinking it every day, like air that I breathe. I made up my mind. I'm going to forgive my wife ahead. Anything she's going to do, I'm going to forgive. I'm not going to hold on to it, because what's the use holding on to something that are you going to keep it for the rest of your life? If she did something wrong, she doesn't apologize. So what am I going to gain by keeping that in my heart for the rest of our marriage when I know that I'm not going to ever leave her? And so once I made up my mind that this is God's gift to me, whatever she does, however she acts, or what she doesn't do, it is part of the package. So I got to get used to how to deal with that package. Boom. That changed another level of operation in me, right? I didn't get all of these things at once. I got them in progress. The first one I got was what I shared with you. As I began to work on that, this other one became clearer, right? Look, you're going to be in this for the long haul, 60 years plus. And so if you want to be better friends, you better get to know her more, and forgive her when she fails. She's not out to kill you or hurt you or destroy you, because she's God's gift for you. So you got to learn to know her. So I began to become more observant of what she wanted, what she complained about. I would listen to it. I wasn't perfect. I will also defend myself. I was a great defender. That's a great defender. Defend everything. I had reason for everything. Now, the truth is, when I take actions, I always have a reason. I think every human has a reason for doing what they do. It's just that some of us, we are wired in a way that we figure that if you know why I did what I did, you will understand that I care and I'm not trying to hurt you. So for those few years when I didn't understand how defending your position feels like to the other person, I would always try to defend myself with the mindset that if I tell her what I was going through, why I was doing what I did, she will be all right. But no, it doesn't feel like that to her. It feels like I'm just excusing myself. So we still struggled in some areas. But I was already settled in one thing, that look, we're going to go the long haul. So instead of being frustrated by her not understanding my defense, it made me to question always, why is she not understanding that? Maybe there's something wrong. And so I discovered it, that always trying to defend myself about what I did wrong or what I didn't do wrong was trying to say to her that I'm right, you're wrong. And it made her feel that way. Now, of course, not everybody feels like that. Some people, for example, for me, when she did something and she cleaned herself, because I'm wired like that, it made sense to me. I felt that I got to know her more. But for her, it wasn't like that, because she has some past experiences that made her feel that if you just keep attacking my thought process without giving me the room, or just accepting at least that what I'm saying makes some sense, I'm going to feel like it doesn't make sense to me. Yes. And I understand that now. I haven't dealt with more people over the years. I see that now, how that can work. So that was my second thing. Forgiveness. Every time she did anything wrong, what she did before, what she didn't do, all the experiences we had while we were courting, while she was away, I just told myself, you know what? All of those are part of the package. And she doesn't do them to hurt me. She does them to cope with her own struggles that she brought. And I'm doing the same, right? Just that not in the same way. I'm doing the same. So I decided to forgive her all the time. Forgiveness became part of my life. And there's something we call prepaid forgiveness. I have it. So I forgive her for everything already. Yeah, made a difference. If you want to adopt that lifestyle, I believe it's going to help you. Some people will say to me that if you do that, these two things that you said, number one, you take responsibility for everything. What if she never changes and she's just mean and all of that? See, well, she could be that, because I can't control that, but I can see that the first step, when I made the first shift, it made my life better. So I'm always going to take the action that make my life better. It made my life better. I became happier. I became more focused. It was easier for me to process what was going on in my life, because now I'm taking control of something I can control. The other way is frustrating, trying to control another person, right? And the second one is, some people say, you know what if the person is mean? Are you going to stay with a mean person for the next 60 years? What they don't understand is that if you show up the right way all the time, and you're not afraid of being you, the one who is wrong will eventually have to walk away, because you're not going to be shifting and becoming what you're not for them. Yes, you're going to be learning them, and you're going to be showing up your authentic self to meet their needs, to help them, right? So take note of that. And that's why many people are scared of what I'm saying, because they assume that what I mean is that I'm just going to bend myself into whatever to please her. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what the shift of no exit plan means. What no exit plan means is that I'm not going to abandon her. I'm not going to leave her. I'm never going to say I'm leaving this marriage. Now, doesn't mean that she can say that. She can. She has the right to say that. But I'm going to do my best so that she doesn't need to say that, and it would be very foolish of her to say that. Yes, that was my goal. I'm going to work in my marriage to the point where anybody if she says she's leaving, then she will be very foolish, and that will be the plan of the enemy also. And I'm going to pray for her. The eyes will be open that she will not leave someone who has devoted themselves like this to serve them and to love her, right? So that was my second shift. It made a difference, bigger difference, yes, because now I began to study her more and understand her more, listen to her more. I wasn't perfect then. I was still not very good at apologizing. I was not good at seeing my errors, but I could see that some things were not working, and so I kept on studying. It really made me to learn, made me to read books, made me to be attentive to stuff, and I discovered that all my books that I was reading to help me increase become better as a leader, become better as a pastor, they were helping me to also become better as a husband. Right? Because being a pastor involves dealing with a lot of people, and it requires you to listen, to get to understand them, and learn to speak their language. Yes, and so it really helped me to see, okay, I can learn to speak my wife's language, and not the language. I mean, that she was born with. We speak the same language, Yoruba, but I mean the way she likes to communicate. Yes, and so that made a big difference. And the third one, and this was also exciting, was I remembered all the beautiful things that we did when we were dating. You know, how we left notes for each other as we went to classes, because we went to university together. I was in, I think, fourth year or fifth year. Yeah, fifth year, and she was in the second year when we started to connect and discover each other, became good friends, and then eventually started to court each other. We didn't call it dating then. But we're good friends, and I can remember leaving notes for her and really being excited to read her notes, excited to see her, help her read her books, and show her how to get better grades, help her with her homework and assignments, all those things, help her in the place of prayer. We used to pray together, and because I thought of those things, I said, you know what, she's the same person, nothing has changed. Yes, she made some mistakes, I made some mistakes, we did some things that we didn't understand, because now we're closer together. We see each other's errors more, but then she's still that same exciting person that I liked, and so I made up my mind that I'm just going to do my best to bring that part out, that beautiful, exciting part that I liked so much, how to bring it out. And I'm still doing that till today. I think of ways to make sure that there's fun and give her room to have fun. Is it expensive? Yes, it can be very, very expensive to do some of these things. Not because of the cost of going out or having fun. No, the cost of allowing your spouse to make mistakes, it can be expensive, but it's nothing compared to the stress of being in pain in your marriage. I know that because I talk to many married couples. Every time I talk to individuals who are married, the pain of being stressed in the marriage for 1 month is too much for me. I don't want to bear that cost. I would rather bear the cost of letting my wife be who she wants to be, and creating an atmosphere where she lets me be who I want to be, and of course choosing not to be controlled. So that's important too. So when I made up my mind that I would take responsibility for my marriage, I also chose not to be controlled, because when you are controlled, you're not going to be yourself. You're going to lose yourself, and you're not going to bring your best into the marriage. So I also made up my mind that as I'm going to pursue her, she loved and fell in love with somebody, and I'm going to keep being that person. I won't change to another person, even though she thinks that what some other person may be the best for her. I'm not going to change, and I'm going to try my best to help her not to change. So this was the most nuanced one. It was not that easy to do, because you it's hard to say, let's forget the pain that just happened due to an argument or a misunderstanding. But I learned to do that. I learned to say to myself, whatever she just said that I don't like, she wasn't trying to hurt me. She was just, there's something that is hurting her. And so I'm going to forgive, and I'm going to move forward by going deeper to find out what that is without changing who I am. And that helped a lot more, right? So I began to show up more the way I believe that God wanted me to show up, which is always in love and always reflecting the person of Jesus. I made up my mind that if I would die, God forbid, suddenly, she should be able to say, out of all the human beings I knew on earth, this guy was the one that reflected Jesus to me the most. And that became my passion. And I've been pursuing it. I still believe that I would keep living like that for the rest of my life here. It's helpful. It's helpful to me as a pastor if the person who knows me the most also knows that this life looks like the life of Jesus, then it's good. And how do I do that? I spend my time asking the Lord to forgive me and help me and grant me grace to overcome all those little things that show up in marriage and makes my spouse frustrated and makes me frustrated. Yes, because pride is the biggest problem that we have in marriage. Pride from both sides. Yes, I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to change my mind when something is not going well. I want to have it my way. Those are the things. And so whenever her response highlights that to me, I quickly go to the Lord and say, Lord, forgive me. And when I see that response, and in her, I ask the Lord, teach me to continue to be a light to shine this. There are times when I've had to make some very difficult decisions that she didn't like, but I knew that was what was the best for us. Painful, but that's what I want her to do for me too. If I'm going wrong, I want her to be bold enough to stand and say, you know what, I don't believe that's the best thing for you. And even when I'm not happy, she should be able to say, you know what, I know you're not happy about this, but I believe that this is the best thing to do for you. And I'm trying to do that. There's still room to grow, but I think that I know, because I've developed a program around this, which I call the love workout method, where I train people to love consistently like this and be themselves and be excellent leaders in marriage, in love, and in every other thing that you do. And I've seen marriages change. I've seen marriages transform in weeks. I've seen people go back home, people that were separated go back home, and in 2 months, they are working. Their marriage has changed direction. It was going towards divorce, speeding towards divorce, but now it's moving towards, it just changes and begins to move towards sweeter and sweeter and thriving marriage, right? Because God's love doesn't fail. Yes. So that's what I teach. This is what I do. And I do this because I believe that many marriages are broken, not because they should be broken, but because people don't know how to stand in love and walk love into everything that they do. Oh yes. If you're there right now and you are struggling in your marriage at this point, and you know that your spouse, your husband, your wife, they're not bad people. They made many bad mistakes or choices, but that doesn't mean that the marriage has to end. No, not at all. Our marriage could have ended. I know that. Every day I think about that we could have ended this marriage. There is no doubt within me at all that we couldn't have ended this marriage, because there are things that we didn't understand at the beginning, that we could have just said, you know what, you go your way, I go my way, you're stressing me too much. And we won't be here now. So I know that your marriage doesn't have to break. And I've seen too many marriages repaired for me to ever assume that any marriage is beyond repair. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I pray that you be able to make those 3 changes. I'll go over them again. Number 1, take responsibility for the atmosphere in your marriage. Decide, I'm going to make sure that my joy, my peace is in my hand, and I will do my best to be the best spouse that my spouse would ever see anywhere. And I would not decide that my marriage is not working just because of something outside me. I'm going to make sure that I do my best to make sure I have a good marriage. So that's the first one. Second one, no exit strategy. Love consistently and decide that I'm going to stay with this gift of God for me all the rest of my life. And because of that, I'm going to do whatever it takes right now to build a kind of marriage I want to enjoy in the future. So change all the parts that you can change and inspire as much as you can. Be the leader. And the third one, pursue your spouse as if it was the beginning. The same person that was exciting at the beginning is still exciting now. So keep working at it and don't give up. Now, if you need a coach to help you get there, someone who's been through the path, not just once, but multiple times with other people like you, then reach out to me. You can look in the descriptions of this message. You can find a way to connect with me, or send me an email, leave a comment, do whatever you need to do. I want to be there for you, and I know I can be there for you. Your marriage doesn't have to break. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to separate. You don't have to divorce. There is always a way to make things better. You just have to make a choice. And if you are saying, I want my marriage, and I'm here for you. If you're saying it's over, I think you are making a mistake. Why? Because if you was over, you wouldn't have watched this video till this point. So don't give up yet. Get a coach. Get someone to stand with you. Now, don't rush into trying to get someone to work with both of you. Let them work with you. Just you. I made up my mind to be transformed. My marriage was changed, and I've seen it over and over again. I'm working with people right now. I work with just one person, and they inspire their spouse. Of course, after a while, the spouse also begins to change, and sometimes they reach out and say, you know what, that guy that is working with you, I want to work with them too, and that makes the work even way faster. All right. I know that you are in for a great time, and I believe that this has blessed you. All right. So until next Monday, continue to love like Jesus and make mega impact. God bless you. Bye for now.